Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome
I got loyalty inside my DNA. I got loyalty inside my DNA. I got loyalty, got war and peace inside my DNA. Inside my DNA. 死んだ天性 I was born in this world. Immaculate conception, I just perform like this without you when you weapon. I know I'll never get it.
Yo, what's up, bro?
What's up? How's everyone doing?
Yeah, how's everybody? Okay, so good news. It has been confirmed that we are getting the Amazing Spider-Man 3. Do I feel like Andrew Garfield deserves his trilogy? Yes, I do, because I'm not going to lie. The second one could have been better, but I feel like this third one is going to be a banger because No Way Home was... I am not even going to lie.
I'm right here, man. I'm just laying down at the moment. I'm probably going to go in and out.
Oh, you tired?
Yeah, man. Long Easter weekend, man. Family and gathering for all. So I might go in and out in terms of my face cam, but yeah, I'm just chilling. But I'm really excited to talk about this topic.
Like, I really do feel like Andrew deserves it. I mean,
Andrew got done dirty. Let's not kid ourselves.
Like, you got to think, Tom got his trilogy. Toby had his trilogy. And Andrew was just left with 2 movies. And I'm like, everybody thinks that Tom Holland's the best Spider-Man. No. Toby, it will always be the best. But I feel like Andrew has the best web slinging.
And I would argue, okay, Tobey Maguire was akin to Spider-Man, the animated series from the 90s. Tom Holland is the kid Peter you would see nowadays.
Right. I see, like, Tobey Maguire, I would say, is more of like alongside the comic book kind of Peter Parker Spider-Man. Tom Holland would be more of like the high school kind of like modern Spider-Man.
And Andrew Garfield would be kind of somewhere in between.
He's the cocky Spider-Man.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like I feel like Tom Holland fights better.
Oh yeah, Tom Holland Spider-Man. Well, he has better tech and is mentored directly by Tony. So
look, he's only powerful because of Iron Man tech.
But again, that version of Peter is still just a kid.
Right. But
whereas Toby and Andrew were late high school, early college age.
Right. And I feel like Andrew kind of gives me more of like the high school jock kind of Spider-Man. You know, kind of like, you know, he's arrogant, like very arrogant.
Actually, I would say Andrew Garfield Spider-Man was more of a jackass, at least in the first film.
Oh, he was a dick.
In the second one, he does tone down a bit, but that's because he's buried with a lot of melodrama from the death of Captain Stacy and reconciling with Gwen.
Yeah.
So he had a lot more to work. So
now answer me this. I have a question. Why did Andrew Garfield only get Gwen Stacy? Toby got a hint of Gwen Stacy in Spider-Man 3, but both Toby and Tom got MJ.
Okay, first of all, Gwen Stacy was Peter's first main love interest, who was tragically killed off by the Green Goblin back in the 80s.
Yes.
And they wanted to go in a different direction compared to what the Sam Raimi did with MJ and Christina Dunst. Which that version of Peter and MJ is toxic. Let's call it for what it is.
No. That was golden. Like, that was a good day. That was a good Spider-Man couple. I enjoyed their story.
To an extent, but nostalgia aside, even you got to admit that Christina Dunst, I'm probably butchering that. Her version of MJ was just shallow and selfish.
But I mean, Zendaya wasn't bad. Zendaya was not bad as MJ.
Oh, Zendaya was decent.
She was actually decent, better than Christina.
Oh,
look! Do not do that.
Characterization wise,
Okay, I ain't gonna lie, she acted better.
Yeah, because I mean, come on, because even back then when Homecoming came out, Zendaya was in her like early 20s. Christina Dunst
She was
is
kind of older.
she was a bit more experienced. I mean, come on.
Like, even when Spider-Man 1 came out, Tobey Maguire, I ain't gonna lie, Christina was a little bit older. I mean, I don't know, maybe a little bit older than what Zendaya was in Homecoming.
Hold on, how old was Christina Dunst when Spider-Man 1 came out? Hold on, I need to look this
Wasn't
up.
she like early 20s?
I think she was 25.
I would say either early or mid 20s. Because I think Toby was around the same age too, wasn't he?
Tobey Maguire was closer to 30. Tobey Maguire is a lot
Good
older than he's let
God.
on.
Good Lord, Toby's that old?
Yeah, Toby's up there. Oh,
So he was up there in age when No Way Home was.
okay, Christina Dunst is 40 now. Spider-Man 1 came out in 02, so 21 years ago.
She
So
was
Christina-
22.
Christina Dunst was about 40 minus 20 minus 21. Christina Dunst was like 19 at the time.
So
when the first movie-
Toby was about almost mid 20 something, maybe late 20s.
No, Tobey Maguire is 47 now.
Yeah, he's a little bit older than her.
Yeah, so 19 years ago. Carry the one. So 19 years ago. So Tobey Maguire was 26 when Spider-Man 1 came out. So Tobey Maguire is about 7 years older than Christina Dunst. He's about 7 years older than her.
Boy, why does that make me seem old? I remember when Spider-Man, man, good Lord.
Age catches up to us all, I'm afraid.
And then I remember when Spider-Man 2 came out.
Oh, that was just a few years later. Hold on, let me go ahead and look that up.
Like, how old were they in Spider-Man 3?
By the time Spider-Man 3 rolled around, you're looking at that was 07, Spider-Man 3.
Okay,
That
so
was
that's not
07,
much of an age difference.
Spider-Man 3. That was yeah.
That wasn't much of an age difference. That was like only a few years.
Yeah, the Raimi trilogy was over the course of 5 years.
But what the Andrews wasn't he had like a year, 2 years in between movies?
If you're counting if you're counting both pre and post production, it was
about a year, 2 years in between Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Okay, the Amazing Spider-Man 2, I believe that was a 2-year gap.
Yeah, and then
So-
here's the thing: where I really think they messed up that is they should have not had Jamie Foxx play Electro, because if they wanted to do Electro right, they should have made him like the comic. Now, I ain't gonna lie, in No Way Home, the suit that he had at the end where you saw like the little electric helmet, now that was comic based. I like that.
Yeah, that was an improvement, but I feel like with Jamie Foxx, you would have gotten more star power because
Yeah,
Electro is not one of Spidey's more popular villains.
But and then at the same time, even in No Way Home, the Vulture was supposed to be in there, but Tom killed him.
Yeah, technically.
So technically, it was the Sinister 5 instead of the Sinister 6. So I was like, or they could have put the Rhino in there, but guess what? Andrew killed him.
Yeah, Andrew kind of fell off the rails after when Gwen Stacy died.
Yeah, I think about that time he was telling them that he stopped pulling his punches at that point. Like he just started getting rageful with his villains.
And yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 was over the course of 2 years, 2012 and 2014. And they were going to announce Amazing Spider-Man 3, and this was okay. Phoenix Press would probably have more detail on that situation better than I would. But there was talks about the licensing with Spider-Man, but talks fell through. And then in a separate incident, Andrew Garfield ended up losing the role after a dispute with Sony Studios in Japan during a conference.
Right.
Now, are you sure we can directly screen share and react to this without the stream getting taken down?
Yes, this is somebody reacting to, this is somebody giving information basically.
Okay, just remember we had
this is not a company's video. This is literally a YouTuber giving information. So, and
Okay.
this is how I was able to find the latest leaks of the Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Okay.
But
Play
these are the breaking news.
It sounds like Sony is dead set on delivering their own signature Spider-Man film that's devoid of the MCU and Tom Holland. And according to some reports that sprung up recently, which are now gaining more traction, that film will be The Amazing Spider-Man 3, and Tom Hardy's Venom will be the main villain.
Looking forward to that one.
So this was a report that started making its way around the internet a couple of weeks ago at this point. I didn't talk about it right away because I didn't think there was anything else outside of what every scooper has said before. And that's, hey, Marvel and Sony are working on The Amazing Spider-Man 3. It's going to happen. Now, what's happened recently, including the video I made about Venom having a Spider-Man problem that Sony starting to realize they need to take care of, is multiple reports that hit the net that Sony is very much going to introduce their own Spider-Man into their bigger Spider-Verse, but they're taking their time because they realized it's going to be Andrew Garfield because of all the love and fanfare he got from No Way Home, and that they reportedly, mended any problems they've had. And the report quickly and soon evolved into, well, that's not it. Yeah, Venom does have a problem. Now, other people are reporting what I was saying. It has a Spider-Man problem, lacking Spider-Man. And allegedly, they really want Venom and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man to fight each other, which is why they've avoided announcing or mentioning or even hinting towards Spider-Man in the Venomverse, or as we knew it as the Venomverse. I guess now it's just Sony's Spider-Man verse or whatever. And that this will be one of the things that they announce soon. Now, maybe again, this is why Venom 3 is taking so much time. They're finalizing details or they're going to announce it in a press release. But I fully do believe this. I do believe this because, again, as I've said, I've talked to a few people that legit, you guys know when I talk to Spider-Man people, if I say it, I'm confident that what they told me has truth behind it, and I'm willing to tell you guys. I've heard the same thing from 3 separate people that do not know each other. And it all stems to Venom 3 and issues and wanting Spider-Man in there. And now it looks like it's going to happen. Unless something literally falls apart at like the 11th hour, this is going to happen. I can tell you that with certainty. Now, again, they just got to be very careful with how they handle it and how they announce it. But more or less, I think you kind of take this to the bank. Again, unless something horrifically goes wrong on Sony's end, yeah, I think we're going to get it.
Okay, so what do you think about that? Now, Andrew versus Venom. Venom is going to spank that ass, dude.
Now, it depends on how they do it, because you could... Now, Sony does hold all the cards. They still hold the movie rights. And yes, the Venomverse can't hold its weight because of the Spider-Man problem. Andrew Garfield is not the same situation as Tobey Maguire, where he was completely done with it and you had to pay him extra to keep him on board. Andrew Garfield does want his third romp. He wants his trilogy. So a deal could be made. You just can't screw it up and throw Andrew Garfield under the bus like you did last time back in 2016. It could work. It just depends on like something doesn't fall apart at the 11th hour. Then you also got other projects like Daredevil, maybe Spider-Man 4 with the MCU, where Tom Holland's Peter comes in contact with symbiote.
Now, there's been actually some rumors about that. Now they're saying we should be getting 3 Spider-Man movies, but in overall, before Secret Wars, they're thinking that we should be getting 5. Now, they're hinting at Tom Holland getting another trilogy, Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6, leading up to Secret Wars. Also bringing back in his movies Andrew and Tobey getting Spider-Man 4 and Andrew getting Amazing Spider-Man 3.
It could work.
But I'm like, they are, because you see, the only reason that Tobey agreed, or they're hinting at it hasn't been confirmed, but everybody said that by his comments and his interviews after No Way Home, Tobey said that it was an honor and he was glad to be back in the Spider-Man suit.
But would he agree to future projects? That's the
But
thing.
but it's only one, and he's also they're hinting at bringing his appearance in Secret War.
Now, whether Tobey Maguire will cameo or be a guest star on Secret Wars, that's its own thing to be dished out. But I don't think Tobey Maguire will agree to another trilogy because Spider-Man 3, for all intents and purposes,
But they said it was just going to be a Spider-Man 4, not 4, 5, and 6. It would just be Spider-Man 4, and that's his last movie.
Okay, because again, the only real plot thread you have is whether or not Tobey Maguire's Peter and Christina Dunst's Mary Jane can reconcile after the death of Harry. Because you got to remember, in Spider-Man 3, now granted this was all done during a jealous tirade on MJ's part, she ended up connecting with Harry. Harry blackmailed her into dumping Peter because Harry got his memories back for the death of Norman.
And then Peter fought Harry. Harry got told by Burner, the butler, yeah, that his father died by his own hands because the night he cleaned his father's wound, the wound that was in his body came from his glider, and so Harry ended up coming to save Peter while he was getting jumped by Venom and Sandman.
Pretty much, because remember in Spider-Man 1, Peter's spider sense kicked in and he leaped over. And well, Norman couldn't react to the situation fast enough. It was all occurring in real time. He was literally, I don't think he was pinned to the wall. I think he was just he was disoriented and out of the fight.
Right.
Because again, Norman had 2 seconds to leap out of the way and avoid a fatal blow. He just couldn't react because he was trying to bait Peter into getting pierced by the glider.
When Peter just spider sensed backflipped, and they were too close in front of each other. He had no time to react at all.
Maybe if he took a side dive, but he would have been pierced in the arm, but he would have avoided a fatal blow.
He probably would have lost an arm.
Probably.
But they were saying Tom Holland should be getting a Spider-Man 4, and that one should be introducing Scorpion. That's what they're hinting at.
There is more evidence for Scorpion because again, Peter sacrificed his individuality, his memory, basically any relevance he had as a normal kid. Okay,
but here's the thing. You want to know something? Not everybody forgot who Peter is. Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy were off the planet when that spell happened. Thor still knows who Spider-Man is.
Yeah, and okay, Tom Holland was more like Iron Boy for me. He was just a sidekick. He was a mentee to Tony as a stand-in for Uncle Ben. I'm just gonna say it. Mm-hmm. You literally made the same mistake over and over again over the course of 3 separate movies. The first one, okay, is acquisition to the MCU. You're a rookie. You're a street-level hero. And you got roped into this whole bigger world with the Avengers. Civil
War was his opening.
Okay, thank you. Then during Infinity War and Endgame, you kind of had no role in that. You were more of a supporting character while trying to stop Thanos from getting the Infinity Stones. You had no real role in that before being erased from the snap. Then in Far From Home, it's a literal sins of the father scenario since you pretty much inherit the baggage and ire from everyone Tony has screwed over, including Mysterio, and then you get your inheritance.
You was the glasses, which you gave to Mysterio like a dumbass.
I mean, all he wanted was a normal life and a chance to get the girl. But you can't blame Andrew. You can't blame Tom Holland's Peter for that.
You really can't. But I mean, that's any Spider-Man, though. But like Andrew said, maybe it's just not in the cards for the guys like us.
Yeah. And again, that's the importance of Uncle Ben. With great power comes great responsibility. He doesn't learn that lesson until the end of the trilogy, when he literally could have learned it after the first film. It literally takes, and even when he did have an opportunity with Doctor Strange to bail him out, just make them forget the Mysterio incident.
No, and that's all he had to do was ask Doctor Strange, hey, can you turn back time with the spell that Doctor Strange did? No, he didn't have the time stone in No Way Home.
Okay.
Remember, he did the what is it? The caves of Kov or whatever it was, where he sat there and Peter kept saying, "Oh, can you make this person still remember, that person remember?" And he changed the spell about like 7 times. Doctor Strange couldn't contain it, and everybody from the villains from Andrews and Toby's universe started
Crossed over.
seeping through. Yes,
If Tom Holland's Peter just kept, because the only real inconvenience in that situation,
he's
is
too
the
much
fact
of a
that
child.
he's too much of a child. I agree. The only inconvenience of that situation is that he would have to explain himself to Ned and Zendaya all over again.
Now, here's the thing: they're hinting at Zendaya somewhat figuring it out, kind of, sort of. At the end of No Way Home, when he went to the coffee shop, MJ was like, "Expect disappointment," and then Peter's like, "And you will never get disappointed." The way she looked at him is like deja vu.
Yeah, that inkling is always going to be there. There's nothing stopping her from piecing it back together. You wiped our minds? Well, technically, I had to counterbalance the spell that brought my variants and the other villains here, and you and Ned losing your memories was kind of a consequence of that.
And so I feel like MJ would if he doesn't die from the scorpion, MJ is probably going to kill him.
Maybe, but I feel like Zendaya MJ does have a right to be mad because her memories were tampered with. But again, Toby, no, not Toby. So I'm getting my names mixed up. Tom Holland's Peter was too much of a child. He was not ready for the larger superhero life. He was not ready. Tony put himself in that situation. He was still just a kid.
And remember, Tony tried to warn him in, what was it, Homecoming, when he said, when Tom was like, "If you really cared, you'll be here."
And then
then
Ronnie Dunn Jr. popping out the suit,
and he said, "Give me the suit." And look, if Tony would have just kept the suit, and he would have went back to being a street level hero, I feel like eventually that he would have learned how important and how much responsibility he has.
Now, he did stop Vulture. He did save the day.
And he stopped Mysterio.
And I'm talking strictly the first film. But I feel like Tony, first of all, he projected too much of himself in Tom Holland's Peter. Peter was still a kid in a lot of ways. I wouldn't have given him the Iron Spider or the variant Techno Spider-Man suit right away. I would have ingrained the lesson of responsibility into Peter a bit more.
Right. I probably would have too. Like, I feel like I wish they would have gave Tom Holland more of like Andrew Garfield's personality.
Where then he becomes
because you got to think. They won't be able to top how Toby was before he graduated high school. But I feel like Tom would probably been more closer to Andrew's, kinda.
He could have thinned the gap because, again, Andrew Garfield was like 17, 18, senior year Peter, whereas Tom Holland is like 9th or 10th grade. So over the course of the trilogy, the first film, he's of course 9th to 10th grade. Second film, he's in his junior year. Third film, he's in his senior year. You could have built up on that. And again, Peter lost 5 years of his life in the snap. What if Tom Holland's Peter was one of the few who survived the snap and actually underwent the 5 years in the devastation of Thanos winning? He would have learned a valuable lesson. Despite the time heist and undoing everything, he would have at least learned the value of responsibility to some degree. I'm not saying Tony should have been snapped in Peter's place. Someone else could have been snapped and no one would have cared. But I feel like if Tom Holland's Peter was actually a part of the time heist in Endgame, he would have learned that lesson of responsibility. He would have learned that lesson. And you wouldn't have to pretty much do a retread for two more films. Because you're just, please let him learn his lesson this time. This is just a dumb kid making the same mistake 3 separate times. And the third time, he finally gets his comeuppance. It finally bites him in the ass, and MILF Aunt May is killed because of it.
So I just really, really, really hope that they do this next 3 Tom Holland movies better than the first trilogy. I feel like at this point, at least he has more knowledge.
Let him be more mature, bare minimum. Let him be more mature going into certain situations. I don't want him to be a quit machine like Andrew Garfield's Peter was. Don't be a quit machine, but don't be you're never going to be Tobey Maguire's MJ. I mean, Peter. You're never going to be Tobey Maguire's Peter. It's just not going to happen. But don't be a quit machine. Find your own mesh. Find your own niche in the role. Just be more mature than the young boy, than the Iron Boy you were prior. Because Far From Home was just Peter doing stupid shit. Let's just call it for what it is.
Yes, he was. All he was doing was getting jealous at Jock Boy because he kept walking around with MJ. That's all the movie was. Him chasing MJ, and then he's not taking responsibility for his role as Spider-Man. And then he's just letting everything just go right over his head. Mysterio manipulated him so easily because of that. Like
Well, to be fair, Mysterio was able to fool Nick Fury, but it was Peter's call. He was able to fool Nick Fury a bit. I mean, Fury figured it out, but he wasn't going to go out of his way to bail the kid out because, again,
he really wasn't.
He wasn't going to go out of his way.
Happy did, though. Happy did.
Happy tried to help him, but Peter wouldn't listen.
Look, it took Happy to say, do what Tony would have done. And this man built his red and black suit, like on a plane with the fabrication machine. Like,
I feel that was a callback to the first film more than anything because
it was it looked just like the first suit too.
It did. But I just remember the illusion scene where Peter just gets the crap beaten out of him. I just felt catharsis the entire time. It took you the entire second act, but you're actually getting your shit together. And I'm just like, and then I start feeling bad towards the end where he ends up at the airport. And I'm like, yeah, this kid's not being responsible and he's getting his comeuppance, but then I remember this is like a 15, 16-year-old kid who just got coaxed into doing something stupid.
Right. And now, I mean, I ain't gonna lie.
I can't blame the kid, but
look, and at least Andrew and Toby, they kind of like caught on to the role very quickly as Spider-Man. Like they knew, like, okay,
they were young adult by that point. There was nothing really. But
what did they do? They got their powers, and they probably fooled around for a little bit. Like, remember that scene in the first Spider-Man of Toby? This man said, "Look, no, he's in his room. He set that can down, and he started
flipping left and right."
And I'm just like, okay, that sounds like something I would do.
Ew.
What did Andrew do? This man built his web shooters and literally stood on 2 fingers and said, "Alley-oop." Like, and what you didn't see nothing like that about Tom though. He was already Spider-Man.
Yeah, because first of all, you don't have Uncle Ben to teach the tragedy of Uncle Ben.
And you see, they messed it up. Aunt May was a MILF.
Now, don't mind you, the actress was very attractive. Don't get me wrong.
Look, I ain't gonna lie. She played a good Aunt May, but you cannot say that Andrew and Toby's Aunt May was more comic based. I want comic based.
Well,
and I need the Uncle Ben. I need the Uncle Ben.
It's a necessity.
It's a necessity. It's not Spider-Man without Uncle Ben now. Without Uncle Ben getting stabbed, shot, ran over, like died, vaporized. Look, it's a
necessity for Peter's character. I agree, because without it, Peter doesn't learn that crucial lesson, and when he does learn it, it's going to be on top of an even worse tragedy, one he directly causes with his recklessness.
Right. And then, see, there when in No Way Home. Now, this was funny. I like that scene where I think I could actually pull it up. Like, this really was like when they both came down, and then Tom and Andrew's like, "Yeah, sorry, I think I know what you're." And then Tom just like, "No, don't tell me you know what I'm going through." And I'm like, "Bro, they went through twice as worse than you, my guy." My guy.
Okay. Yeah, the rage scene against Norman, but you're not the only. He's not okay. First of all, it's one thing to feel compelled by revenge. It's another when that situation was orchestrated by your own stupid actions. Take Andrew, for example. He dragged the fight. He refused to give Harry his blood in an attempt to counteract his hereditary disease. He dragged the fight trying to reason with Harry in his mad state rather than ensuring Gwen got the safety. He dragged the fight.
Facts. I like.
No, he easily could have saved Gwen in one or two scenarios.
And now it's all so different.
One, he retreats and ensures Gwen gets to safety, or B, he doesn't pull his punches and goes straight for the knockout. Harry's too far gone. He's using the goblin serum. He's completely in a state of temporary insanity. He's not going to listen to anything you have to say. You're not going to be able to take him down.
Speaking of the goblin serum, you want to know what I was watching No Way Home and I caught something. Remember that scene when Tom Holland had all the villains in the apartment?
Yes.
Him and Norman are in the back. They made the little chip to go in Doc's arms, and then and then out of nowhere, I guess the Green Goblin serum was made. You want to know why he said it didn't work? Because Norman Osborn replicated the Goblin serum instead of making a cure to make it permanent.
Pretty much.
So he doesn't go back to Norman.
No, because he's too far gone at that point, and technically they were whisked away right before their deaths. Which the only real benefit from that out of all the villains is literally Doc Ock, because it explains his last minute heel turn where he compresses the particle accelerator into himself, sacrificing himself to save Peter and MJ, rather than just a last minute wheel turn to cement a happy ending. Okay, he's gone for a few minutes. He has a complete change of perspective because he was in an alternate universe. Okay, I lost myself in my grief. I let the AI in the arms take over, and I need to make this right. It actually fixes up the climax of that movie, because Doc Ock has a completely different perspective to where he was just a few minutes prior.
Right. And now this scene right here, I really think was a major turn, because I feel like Tom thought that, his whole world just collapsed. But they don't know that Toby and Andrew lost triple as many people close to them than Tom ever has. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at. Oh, wait.
Hopefully we don't get taken down for this.
Oh, no, we're not. It's just a. This was iconic scene right here.
Peter, there's some people here.
What?
There's my boys.
Hey, wait, whoa. Sorry about May.
Right here.
Yeah. Sorry. I got some understanding of what it is.
No. Please don't tell me that you know what I'm going through.
Okay.
She's gone. It's all my fault. She died for nothing. So I'm gonna do what I should have done in the first place. Peter, please don't. You don't belong here. Either of you. So I'm sending you home. Those other guys are from your worlds, right? So you deal with it. If they die, if you kill them, that's on you. It's not my problem. I don't care anymore. I'm done. I'm really sorry that I dragged you into this. But you have to go home now. Good luck.
The way MJ just said, look
My
at
Uncle
him.
Ben was killed. It was my fault.
I lost
This one.
Gwen. She was my MJ. I couldn't save her. I'm never gonna be able to forgive myself for that. But I carried on, tried to keep going, try to keep being the that friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, because I know that's what she would have wanted. But at some point, I stopped pulling my punches. I got rageful. I got bitter. I just don't want you to end up like me.
The night Ben died, I hunted down the man who I thought did it. I wanted him dead. I got what I wanted.
But it didn't make it better.
It didn't make it better.
It never does.
It took me a long time to learn to get through that darkness.
I want to kill him. I want to tear him apart. I can still hear her voice in my head. Even after she was hurt, she said to me that we did the right thing. She told me that with great power
comes great responsibility.
Comes great responsibility.
Wait, what? How do you know that?
Uncle Ben
said it.
The day he died.
Maybe she didn't die for nothing.
Maybe she didn't die for nothing, Peter.
Bro, now that right there, I like how Toby did that. He said, with great power comes great responsibility. And then he's like, how'd you know that? Uncle Ben said it the day he died. Maybe she didn't die for nothing, Peter. That flipped a switch in that boy.
It did. It did.
Now, here's the thing. Remember when Andrew said that he stopped pulling his punches? Spider-Man is really powerful.
When he doesn't hold back.
Bro, did you not see how Tom bent that shield when fighting the Green Goblin? If that would have landed, oh my God. Like, Tom was... Look, the Green Goblin, Norman, was not fighting Tom.
Now, he does have some body armor. He does have some body plating.
That would have been shattered. Like, he was not fighting Tom. He was fighting Spider-Man with no feelings, no emotion, just pure rage. Tom wanted to kill. This man whooped. I mean, that was good.
It took both of them just to hold Tom Holland back. Because I'm not saying Tom Holland's the strongest of the three Spider-Man. He's the youngest. He's the most inexperienced. He's the most raw out of the three.
And this man was flipping, slamming the dude on his head, webbing his hand and feet together, kneeing him in the face. I said, dude, come on now. Give the old man a crutch. Come on. But I ain't gonna lie. When Norman fought him the first time, Norman put the paws on him.
Because, again, he has both the Goblin Serum and Mind Games. Peter was naive. Peter wanted to redeem everyone. Tom Holland's Peter wanted to redeem everyone. Norman did not care. He trolled this kid to his face and bombed the entire apartment complex.
I mean, he said, Peter. He said, he says, you could thank me later or whatever, and then just threw the bomb. And I was just like, yo, like the Green Goblin has no
chill.
Yeah, like
now
zero.
You could argue it was for Tom Holland's Peter's own good. He needed to learn that lesson. But the way Norman went about it, like he literally trolled this kid to his face.
Like I'm talking about, he said, I saw how she looked at you, fighting her moral battles. We don't need fixing. These are not curses. They're gifts. Gods don't. He said what gods don't need to be filled, something, and he said like we take. And this man and the lizard did him dirty. This man started climbing the wall and he said, I told you there'll be consequences in this, threw him. And I said, yo, y'all give this boy a chill. Like, they were really tag teaming this boy.
But again, it was such an easy. Peter did what any other teenager would have done in that situation. He wanted his cake and eat it too. And it
he wanted to be the good guy and he wanted to be the superhero.
And in most situations, there's nothing wrong with that. You can bring more people into your life. You can have a supporting cast. You have to either have them be aware or have contingency plans in place should villains figure out who you are and come after them. Peter didn't have the emotional maturity to handle that in an idealistic way. He wanted his way and he wanted convenience.
Right. I feel like Peter was just trying to. He was just very in the middle of living two lives to the point where it was just he was living fame because of Tony. He's trying to be Spider-Man, but at the same time he's trying to have a normal life, get into college. It just wasn't working. You can't be an Avenger, have fame, be a superhero, and then try to go to school and college. Like it's just something ain't gonna work.
Something's gonna give.
Like
the pressure's gonna the pressure's gonna give.
Or you're going to tire yourself out.
One or the other.
But before we go to one of the next Spider-Man topics, so do you think Andrew has what it takes to beat Venom? Or Tom Hardy?
Ooh, that's the thing. Tom Hardy and Venom have built up their relationship since the second film. If there was Venom from the first film, then maybe.
Look, I will say the first Venom and Toby, that he was more vicious, but Tom Hardy's Venom seems to be kind of like on the good guy side or anti-hero.
He's neutral, basically.
So why would him and Andrew fight?
The reason they would fight is if, well, there's no reason to.
No, there's a conspiracy theory. They said that this is a Venom from, like I said, this is from the Venom from Andrew's universe. But in the Venom from the first movie is a kind of, I guess,
a variant
or the same Venom, but in Toby's universe. So Tom Hardy's Venom remembers Spider-Man or remembers Toby, or, he knows who's, he remembers Spider-Man.
The hive mind, basically.
So he gets rageful.
Yeah. So that is one reason. So that way he wouldn't have to have or after Gwen Steph, when he stopped putting his punches, this was around the time the symbiote bonded to Andrew Garfield's Peter in the past. That's where he started getting rageful, lashing out. Then he broke free of the symbiote and rejected it, and then it ended up going to Tom Hardy. And he still holds a grudge from being rejected by Andrew Garfield's Peter because he technically rejected him. To be fair, you were a bad influence on him from the death of Gwen.
Yeah.
You were a bad influence on him. So I mean, I can understand, you're trying to find a beneficial host and all that, but I feel like you're better now with Tom Hardy's Eddie than you were with Andrew Garfield's Peter, because Andrew Garfield's Peter was just lost in his own pain.
Yeah, and I also think Tom Hardy's Eddie is way better than the first Eddie that we had in Toby.
Okay, Eric Foreman from That 70s Show had no reason being in that film. Let's just call it for what
he was trash.
Let's call it for what it is. And Sam Raimi didn't even want to put Venom. Sam Raimi was a fan of like the 70s, 80s era.
Bro, I heard rumors that it was supposed to be Electro or Shocker. It wasn't supposed to be Venom. It was supposed to be Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Shocker, then Venom.
Yeah, Venom was supposed to be saved for a Spider-Man 4. But the studio insisted on using Venom.
And that messed it up, Spider-Man 3.
Now, I get it. Peter versus Neo Goblin just would have been a glorified dogfight. Hence why you need a secondary villain to increase the stakes. But all you needed was a Venom tease. Have Peter wear the symbiote, reject it at the clock tower scene, and then have it bond to Eddie as a credit as either a post credit or foreshadowing for the next film. You didn't have to include Eddie in the final battle. You really didn't.
Yeah, he could have. You could have just like that Eddie and that Venom probably should have just like dispersed, went away,
and just been saved for 4, where he's bulked up a bit, and now.
Or what they could have did, made Venom its own movie like they did with Tom Hardy, and then make Spider-Man 4 and then combine.
That could have worked too. I'm not gonna lie, that could have worked too.
But I feel like that was just too early. Venom was introduced to us in the Spider-Man MCU too early.
Way too soon.
But speaking of Spider-Man, 3-2, so we actually heard that Sony isn't marketing the new Spider-Man 2 game as of right now.
Wait, the one from Spider-Man PS5 or a new?
Yeah, the new one, like we're talking about the Spider-Man. Then you got the Miles Morales. Yes, that Spider-Man.
Okay, PS5. Okay, just want to make sure. So are they shelving the game? Is it in production?
They're having beef with Microsoft right now.
When Sony hasn't had beef with Microsoft?
It's more of like Microsoft, from what the leak said, Microsoft is really getting tired, because you see Sony and Activation, Activation makes the Sony video games, like
Yep.
So Activation is split in between 4 companies.
Yes.
You got Respawn and all that other
I think they worked with Blizzard for a while.
And then you see one of them makes the Call of Duty games.
Yes.
But the one who makes the Call of Duty games is owned by Microsoft. So
Yes.
that part of Activation is owned by Microsoft, but they are getting mad because Microsoft wants a better, I guess,
deal.
They want a better or a quality game. So now Microsoft is trying to buy, or they're trying to own that part that actually
that stock of Activation.
Yes, and make Call of Duty just for Microsoft and Xbox.
So first of all, they would never pull that off. That's a full acquisition when Activision was split during bankruptcy. That's more of a licensing thing than anything. Microsoft would never pull that off. This isn't even a
really don't. Do you really believe that? Because I feel look from what
trying to make Call of Duty exclusive. If this was something if this was Call of Duty like 10 years ago, then maybe they might be able to pull this off. But ever since Fortnite took off, Call of Duty is nowhere near as big as it used to be.
But
this is the corporate equivalent of a bluff.
So everybody's been wondering when the release date of Marvel Spider-Man 2. They're thinking it's going to be 2024, but I feel like now that Microsoft is trying to pull a stunt like this, we're definitely getting a delay.
Oh, for sure. Because
But
they need to hash this out.
But this is what Sony's talking about.
What's up, guys? How you doing? So today's news is pretty fucking stupid, if I do say so myself, but to be fair, it's not surprising when it's related to Sony. So yeah, apparently Marvel Spider-Man 2 is not marketing the game that much because of the franchise we all know and maybe not love as much as we used to, Call of Duty. Now you're probably wondering, Scarlett, what does Call of Duty have to do with Marvel Spider-Man 2? Let's get into it. Really quick, I tried to do some research on this topic, but couldn't really find anything super solid, so take this video as a grain of salt. But if you did not know, from my knowledge and from what I understand, Activision is split into like 5 companies, okay? So we got King Digital, never heard of that. Activision Blizzard merger, I don't know what that is, but Activision, Raven Software.
What's up, man?
I've heard of them.
How you doing?
Infinity Ward, which sounds familiar because
Just
they
in
make
time.
the Modern Warfare series, Call of Duty, and Treyarch, who makes the Black Ops series again, Call of Duty. Apparently, what is going on is that Microsoft has been tired of not having good exclusive games for years, besides like Halo. But who the fuck plays Halo anymore? So with that, and I'm not even sure if they did already or are in the process of doing so, but apparently Microsoft wants to, or is, or already did buy Activision. It seems like they're trying to get Call of Duty exclusively for the Xbox. Now, if you're a PC gamer, I don't think that it matters because I imagine like they're gonna put the Call of Duty games on Steam along with Xbox. But of course, if this ends up being the case, PlayStation consoles will not be able to play Call of Duty. So now what does this have to do with Marvel Spider-Man 2 in Insomniac Games. Let's take it back to around, I think 2014, 2015, somewhere around there. I think that's when the first rumors of Marvel Spider-Man, like the first game in 2018, like being made or something. Over the years, Insomniac Games has worked with PlayStation and Xbox, but they did release some Xbox exclusives, I think, like Ratchet and Clank, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I never really played those games and don't know anything about them. But I know they've had some exclusives for Xbox, but they have made games for PlayStation as well. I do believe they have had more experience with PlayStation though. So again, 2014, 2015, Insomniac was trying to see like who they wanted to like make Spider-Man for exclusively, I'm pretty sure. And they went to Xbox and PlayStation. I think I talked about this before. I'm pretty sure Xbox said, nah, we're good. We don't want that. We got Halo and whatever the fuck else they have. I don't know. So in my opinion, Xbox fucked themselves over. But with that, PlayStation took the offer, and then fast forward to 2019, Sony owns Insomniac Games because they bought Insomniac in 2019. I think we all know Sony for years has had so many big exclusive IPs over the years, like Uncharted, The Last of Us, which ended up recently turning into a show, God of War, what else? There's more, I can't remember, but there's definitely more. But those are the most notable, though, and of course, Spider-Man. So I think Xbox has basically gone off the deep end because they realized they fucked up with Spider-Man, so they want exclusive games to rival Sony. So again, like, seems like they're in the works, I guess, of buying Activision, seemingly to have Call of Duty exclusive to them. I did read somewhere, and again, like, I don't know if this is like true or whatever, you know, again, grain of salt. Apparently Xbox said even if they do buy it, they are not going to make it, they're not going to make Call of Duty exclusive to Xbox, which, I mean, I don't know, that's kind of like a double-edged sword. So now let's talk about Call of Duty for a little bit. Call of Duty is a huge IP. This franchise has been going on for what,
it's overrated.
20 plus
it's very
years
overrated.
now, I believe. But since Xbox is trying to buy Call of Duty, essentially, Sony has panicked and basically does not want to market any of their games due to Xbox, you know, again, trying to secure Call of Duty exclusively, like, apparently. So now you may ask, how does this make sense, or why would they do that? To be honest, I don't even know. Like, we all know how Sony is, but like, let me put this into perspective really quick. Call of Duty, whether you like it or not, has been dying since like Advanced Warfare. This is because they keep making new games every couple of years or every year, and on top of that, they don't listen to their community very well. Call of Duty franchise is great. Don't get me wrong. I've been playing Call of Duty since I was, I don't know, like
Modern Warfare
10,
3
11, 12, somewhere around there. My aunt's boyfriend's son taught me how to play Call of Duty. So I've been playing Call of Duty since like, you know, early teenage years. So again, don't get me wrong, Call of Duty franchise is great overall, but people are already tired of the new MW2 and Warzone 2 or whatever. Yeah, they'll come back for like a couple weeks, a few weeks to, you know, grind the new season, but that's not going to keep them playing for very long, because eventually they will abandon the new Modern Warfare 2, the developers, to move on to working on the next game. And that's just the cycle they're in. And it will continue to go through that likely until the end of time. So with that, I find this entire situation stupid because Call of Duty is not going anywhere astronomical in terms of like numbers, sales. Over the years, like it's going to die down. And it already slowly has started, in my opinion, at least. Unless Xbox buys COD and makes one great game that maybe has like just a little bit of everything from like the greatest Call of Duties like MW2, MW3, BO2, Advanced Warfare, COD 4, BO1. If it just takes like a little bit from everything, makes like a great game, listens to, you know, the community, and then over the years updates it slowly and gives out weapons, or not, maybe not gives, or yeah, gives for free some weapons and some maps, and then obviously for like other weapons and other maps, like, you know, they could release DLC packs and shit like that from those older CODs throughout time, and again, makes new weapons and new maps and stuff, and sticks to that one game. There is no way Call of Duty will ever truly be revived, in my opinion, at least. And I think a lot of the Call of Duty community would also agree with what I'm saying, because I've heard this pretty much everywhere. And sadly, that's the only way that Microsoft or Xbox can even potentially rival Sony's big catalog of IPs they have in video games. On top of that, I don't think Call of Duty will ever be as good of an IP until it gets to that point. And even then, it may not be good enough to rival Sony's catalog of IPs. So with all that, basically Sony's stupid. They're trying to force their developers' hand, or they are forcing their developers' hands to not market their games because Sony's scared of Microsoft, that they'll buy a dying IP that likely Microsoft will never revive. And I mean, like, who knows if Microsoft does buy COD? And okay, let's say, like, for the benefit of the doubt, like, they do end up doing what I said. That would be great and all for like the Call of Duty franchise. Don't get me wrong, but I really don't think PlayStation will lose out that much if that were to ever happen.
Not really. And that just exemplifies my point. This is the corporate version of a bluff.
So, I mean, I really think that, like, the only downside about that is that Sony and Spider-Man 2 is going to have such a major delay because Microsoft is just really they screwed themselves over. Like, they're so hung up on Halo and Call of Duty. But I'm just like, that is like such overrated games. But
and they're not even properly managing Halo. They can't even do that right.
Yeah, look, Halo hasn't been good since like Halo 4. Like Halo
2.
I would say Halo.
Whoa. Let's be clear on this. Reach was the best Halo. 4 was one of the worst.
Okay,
let's be clear on that.
Let's be clear. Let's be clear.
Okay, I was gonna say Halo Reach was one of my top favorites.
I've been playing Halo since I was 10 years old, bro. I started.
You're
in
not
Halo
winning
3.
that debate. You're not winning this debate.
Let's not talk about. Let's not try and put Halo 4 above Reach and 3 alone. Okay.
Reach was mediocre.
I enjoy it both.
Hey, whoa! Did I just hear you say Reach was mediocre?
Okay, Reach is one of the best of its time, but you compare it to Halo 2. Compare Reach to Halo 2.
Oh, well.
Okay, that is a good point.
That is a good point. That is a good point. That is a good point. Yeah. That's just like comparing Halo 4 to Halo 1.
That's like comparing Halo 5 to Halo 1.
Oh, yes. Oh, Halo 5 was just Halo 5 just I couldn't. I didn't even want to touch it. Like I saw
didn't even touch the campaign. I got through one level of the campaign and I was like, done. I'm not doing this.
I really think that Sony's not going to lose out on much because even though they might have a delay on the release date of Spider-Man 2, once it drops, they're just going to make that back. They're going to make that credit back because even though that Microsoft might make Call of Duty theirs, all Sony has to do is just keep Spider-Man theirs. That's it.
They have arguably the most money-making franchise ever, Spider-Man.
Arguably.
Yes. Now, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I'll go back to my main point. They should have released Spider-Man 2 instead of Avengers.
Oh, they could have.
Wait.
Look, Marvel's Avengers was not a good game. I played it, and I do not like the gameplay.
I'll keep it a buck. It was god-awful. I will keep it a buck. But the thing about Marvel's Avengers, there was no real point to that game other than trying to prop up Miss Marvel.
And to try and get in that MCU cash. The problem is that A, the characters didn't look or act like any of the MCU characters, so you had that issue. Second off, the campaign was clearly a focus on a character that, as of yet, no one cares about.
The store was horrible. The way you had to unlock skins, there was no battle pass, wasn't no crossplay, no multiplayer. It was just
there actually was a battle pass. They just hit it with each character.
It came later with the DLCs.
Mm-hmm.
And then the way they released the DLCs, first it was Black Panther, then it was Spider-Man. I'm just like
exclusively on the PlayStation 4, mind you. I'm like, what? It's not even the same canon universe. Are you kidding me?
You really expect Sony to play ball with the Spider-Man exclusive?
Here's an idea. Don't use Spider-Man, unfortunately, because if it's a character that you're going to get into these issues with, don't use it. It's really that simple.
And I just feel like Microsoft has really been doing the most. Like
Microsoft is petty.
No, they just been stuck on the same game since I was in middle school. Like I haven't seen no dramatic change. But I've seen the major change and transformation from back then, from the PlayStation 1 to now the PS5, and how Sony has evolved. And now, what has Microsoft got to show for it?
the Xbox and the Xbox One.
Yeah, they just come out with new consoles and like, oh, hey, we're just going to charge people out the butt, but our games are still going to be the same.
They didn't even name them logically. So you know how we have this Xbox 360 and everyone expects the follow-up to be called the 720? No, let's call it the One. But PlayStation actually has it sequentially. Was PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, but we're Microsoft and we like to make things overly complicated.
But yeah, I really do think, in my defense, that we're probably will get Spider-Man 2 about mid or maybe late 2024.
Definitely, there's definitely going to be a delay because of this. But I feel like that if I'm looking at this objectively, this is the corporate equivalent of a bluff. This would never pan out in court. Even if a deal could be settled, Sony would make that money back the moment Marvel Spider-Man 2 comes out.
Oh yeah,
So
most definitely, because they're putting Miles Morales and Peter Parker, and they're introducing Venom. Oh, that game's gonna be
multiplayer mechanics.
That's gonna be a blow.
Yeah, it's co-op too. So I'm like, yeah, you gotta expect that a co-op Spider-Man game that's gonna slap hard.
And for what? You lose one title that's been meandering about for the past decade.
And you got to think, most PlayStation players don't even play Call of Duty.
Yeah,
they play more like Apex, Fortnite, stuff like that. Like
games that arguably shouldn't exist, particularly with the Fortnite, but that's besides the point.
Fortnite is glorified product placement. Let's just
see me. I'm strictly Apex because I feel like Apex plays better on PlayStation and PC.
I agree.
Like I played it on the Xbox, and I don't know, the controls just don't feel right to me.
I agree.
That works. Yeah, I agree with you.
We're gonna move, since we got my boy here. I want to move on to the topic. Let's go ahead. And
I even wore the appropriate shirt.
Look, let's move on. Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern.
And before we go forward, a moment of silence for Taladia and his family. Even though he couldn't join us, it's still the fact that the loss of a relative. So let's just give him up.
All right.
Okay.
So, Ryan Reynolds is Green Lantern. Now, everybody said that movie was trash. Everybody said that movie was trash. Now,
I don't.
Look,
I'll let you get your defense out the way. Then
me personally, I enjoyed it. Now, everybody I ask about it, they given such backlash to it. They said that was not Ryan Reynolds' favorite role, and even Ryan said he hated playing that movie. But it was just, I feel like they should have. I just don't like how they tried to like compress everything. Like they at least should have like.
Well, here's your biggest problem. The thing about Green Lantern is that most of what people read Green Lantern for is the space part, and most of this movie takes place on Earth. I'm like,
Green Lantern 2011 was very grounded. Your very generic, grounded origin story.
Because the idea is Green Lantern is DC's version of Star Wars. And you took the star out of the wars. That doesn't work. And not only that, they changed Parallax. Parallax is not a guardian. He's the actual embodiment of fear. Let's start there. And then it's like,
you basically use Kronos, the rogue guardian from the antimatter. Krona, thank you, and called him Parallax. First of all, if you wanted to do Krona in the antimatter, Green Lantern First Flight. All you had to do was do a live action version of that film.
Which, by the way, also had Sinestro as a bad guy, which they could have just had. They could have just had him. He was working from within, trying to sabotage the core. And I'm like, there's so many. Let me put it this way: I enjoy the movie for what it is.
Okay.
But there's so many better things they could. There's a better movie in there. I know, because I've read Jeff Johns' entire Green Lantern run, and that would be a killer film series.
Like I feel like I agree with you. Like a lot of my Green Lantern fans at work, they basically said they wish that they would have made it where Ryan Reynolds was already Green Lantern.
Yeah, it's
true. And you know, and they were rather would have seen him versus Sinestro.
Because that's his guy. Sinestro is Hal's Lex Luthor.
Yeah, and it's just like him as Yellow Lantern. That's iconic. That was a good
post credit.
Yes, and it took him all movie just to make the ring, and we didn't even get to see it.
I know. They were like, "Oh, April Fools!" I wonder if this movie came out in April. Let's give you a Green Lantern movie, but not a Green Lantern movie.
And it's just the back like. I've been seeing like a lot of backlash. Like a lot of people said, "Oh, We love the movie. The basic concept of the Green Lantern Corps has the greatest scope, and very much like Star Trek, it offers endless plots. The movie was great, balanced character development, action, and suspense, but they don't like the post credit. Everybody was just bashing Ryan off of that post credit.
Yeah,
Well,
because it served no purpose.
Like,
And
why show it?
I mean, here's what you have to understand, though. This movie was originally supposed to start the DCEU. That's why they brought in like Amanda Waller and all that BS. And then it's like, oh, nope, this movie bombed. We're not doing that anymore. Let's start with Superman.
Wouldn't be the first time DC pressed the panic button, but we at least
Arguably, they will. Again.
Which we did get Green Lantern, the animated series, out of it, which was a great TV show.
Oh my, that's Clone Wars, but Green Lantern.
My only nitpick is they didn't they were strictly contracted by WB not to use the Yellow Lanterns or the Fear entity
Or
in any way.
how about their weird version of the Anti-Monitor?
Yeah.
It was just a robot that destroyed worlds, not like a being that destroys realities.
It might as well have been Terminator. It was literally the AI robot going through a heartbreak because Razor rejected her. That is literally all it was.
They're repeating the whole arc with the Manhunters. So I'm like, this is the exact same thing. What are you doing here?
No, I ain't gonna lie. It had some good effects. The graphics was amazing. Now, I really like
the animation was slightly off.
Now, one of the things that I really liked about it was how they took the lantern to charge the ring from the comic. I was like, at least they did that. I mean,
that's why I say it's not that. Let me put it this way: the small amount of Green Lantern that we got in the movie, it is the comics right there. It's down to the suit made of energy, the oath,
It's just not what the audience wanted, basically.
The suit itself looked fantastic.
Except for the face. The face is the only part where it looked weird because they CGI'd the mask onto his face, and CGIing anything onto someone's face is generally a bad idea.
Yeah.
Sorry, I remember Justice League for a second. Excuse me.
Why did you say that name?
but seriously, did you know that the one-off episode with Sinestro was technically a loophole because they had to set it before Sinestro went rogue because you couldn't use the Yellow Lantern Corps.
But you see, they even hinted at it though. Even Sinestro went to the Guardians or the Elders, and he was like, "Why don't we forge a yellow ring?" See, instead of waiting to the end of the movie, that was a perfect opportunity to.
Because what they could have done to salvage this is make this movie a little longer. Here's how I would do it: make the whole battle with air quote Parallax. I refuse to call him Parallax. Make that happen earlier in the movie. Okay, he fights Krona early in the movie. He defeats him like usual. Then Sinestro shows up with a yellow ring, and he goes, "Oh, the Guardians were wrong. You should feel this power." And then they have a battle, and then Sinestro is banished to the antimatter universe. See, that's how you salvage this. Instead of giving us that, where it teased us with Sinestro turning evil, but we didn't get it.
Yeah, we really didn't. We didn't get it at all.
Could this movie been salvaged?
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like it should have been released later than what it was. Now,
definitely.
And I wasn't really a fan of the whole guy, who was crippled at one point, but then he got the little hint of Parallax for doing the autopsy. He did the
Hector
autopsy.
Hammond. Yeah.
I was like, that's kind
exactly how he is in the comic, except he is a little more obsessed with Carol than he kind of is, because the thing about Hector Hammond is that he's jealous of Hal, and they definitely captured this in the movie, but he's very much a stalker of Carol Ferris. And by the way, Carol Ferris, future Star Sapphire.
Yes.
I feel like, okay, Carol Starfire, okay, it did make sense to me for Carol to be Star Sapphire in the Silver Age because of the wackiness of that era. But in a modern setting, Carol just doesn't work because her main reason for becoming a Star Sapphire is because of her love for Hal and she missed him. But Hal's always gallivanting in space, i.e. Kirk from Star Trek. So the moment Carol finds that he's technically cheating on her, she goes on a warpath.
Jay Heat, read the Jeff Johns run. That justifies her being a Star Sapphire. That's all you need.
Okay.
Anyone watching the stream, if you ever want to see a good Green Lantern like complete story, read the entire Jeff Johns run. You will thank me for it.
Now, do you think that Green Lantern should deserve a sequel, but done correctly? No, I'm talking about, Ryan Reynolds is probably not going to play.
Oh, he'll never voice
Well, let me put it this way. They are making a Lanterns project. I think it's a movie that's going to be Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart teaming up, which I'm like, yes, thank you so much. So
is Ryan Reynolds going to do it?
No, I don't think so. I think he's too busy being Deadpool.
Now there was that post-credit montage where he does go back in time
and just murders him as he's reading Green Lantern.
You're welcome, Canada.
That was great.
That was great.
The whole crowd in the theater cheered.
I like the part where he goes back and you see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine and him as the
crap Deadpool, and he just unloads an entire mag into the really bad Deadpool.
Boo, and then Wolverine just looking at him, and he said, "Hey, buddy."
See?
I love
You'll
that.
thank me someday.
That was awesome.
But yes, I really feel like Ryan is better off being Deadpool. It suits his personality.
It suits him better.
Oh yes, he is Deadpool.
But I think they need to revamp Green Lantern and make it done right. I feel like they need to find someone who can play the role, I guess, not in a jokey way as Ryan did in the first Green Lantern. But
well, you can do jokey because Hal is kind of a jokester. It's just not too much like Deadpool.
Hal is quippy. Deadpool is meta and in your face, but Hal is more quippy.
Because I'm telling you, Chris Pratt could play a pretty decent Hal Jordan.
Chris Pratt can pull it off, but if not executed well, it's going to be too similar to Star-Lord. Which is why he'd probably be a better Booster Gold.
Oh, hell yes.
Yes. I can see that.
Probably. Who would play a good Hal Jordan? I see. I don't know who would be a good Hal, though.
That's the thing. It's tough to fit that role because it's like you think of all the people who's playing either in the MCU or the DCU, and it's just like, oh my god, who would be a good fit for this? Like,
yeah. So
it's like, hold on, this is a hot take. Ronnie Downey Jr. Because it's just
I could look. That'll be hilarious, honestly.
It'd be hilarious if all the MCU stars that died switch over to and be the new DC cast.
Now, what about? Here's the thing.
Hold on.
What about
Ronnie Downey Jr. as Sinestro? Come on, don't tell me you had
him as no. Him as Lex Luthor. He already has experience in war suits.
Too on the nose, man.
What I was thinking, Andrew Garfield as Hal Jordan.
No, too young.
Kyle Rayner, maybe.
Kyle, yeah, but no, it can't
not
be
Hal.
that.
Not Hal. No. Tobey Maguire is Hal Jordan.
No, he's walking down Oa doing the Spider-Man dance with the black suit.
Really, the emo dance?
He's gonna love those Black Lanterns, dude.
You really been holding in that one, haven't you, Jay?
Thank you for bringing that up, dude, because that's perfect.
Now, what's the
Okay, who would be a good cast for Guy Gardner?
Honestly, Chris Pratt could be a good Guy Gardner.
Yeah, Chris Pratt would fit a lot of roles. I ain't even gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Pratt would fit a lot of roles, not gonna lie. Who would be a good Kilowog? Someone like who's a real hard ass.
Keith David.
Yes.
Yeah,
dude.
I can see that.
Because you have to understand about Kilowog. You have to pick someone that has a badass voice because it's all gonna be CG. Who has the most badass voice of the voice actors? Who does? It's Keith David.
Morgan Freeman.
Of the people that do this type of geek stuff, Keith David. He's voiced the Arbiter in Halo.
That is true.
And the center in the DC New Frontiers movie.
He did.
I'm telling you, him as Kilowog, I'm imagining it right now, and I'm like, yeah, I like this. I like this. I can imagine him saying "Poozer."
Yeah, I can definitely. I would say if they was to do a sequel, they should give the contract to Chris Pratt. I can't think of nobody else. Like I really can't. Like,
Okay, who would make a live action Razor?
ooh,
Hayden Christensen.
Nah, I get where you're going with.
He's
But,
not ready to play because Fraser's really Anakin Skywalker when you think about it.
yeah,
yeah, I can.
Razor is similar to Anakin Scott. No, I would argue Anakin has more self control than Razor.
He,
Because
yeah,
Razor,
to a certain
my one
extent.
complaint. Wait, speaking of Razor, my one complaint with the Green Lantern anime show, they significantly wussed down the Red Lantern oath because it's a kids show.
Pure
They can't.
censorship.
I'll tell you what. Hang on, I'm gonna read you the Red Lantern oath, and you tell me if they could have this for a kid show. All right, hang on.
If
Now,
I remember correctly, I doubt they will ever have that as a kids show.
All right, you ready? All right. With blood and rage of crimson red, ripped from a corpse so freshly dead, together with our hellish hate will burn you all. That is your fate. Yeah, they're not using that in the kids.
They're not using that.
No,
no, that was heavily censored.
no.
Mm-mm. But you get it's, but you see, as me growing up with the lanterns and the comics, it's amazing how many color lanterns there are.
Yeah, and they keep at well.
You got
arguably-
blue, orange, red,
Ultraviolet,
yellow,
indigo.
ultraviolet, white.
Yeah, they keep adding on ones that we don't need. But so my the funny part about it is that in the comics, so each color is supposed to correspond to an emotion, right? But
Right?
life and death are emotions.
No, life and death are embodiments of
But they're-
mortality.
It still doesn't work with the rules of the that's established in the universe. But I
Okay.
get it.
Think of it like this: white is the combination of everything, both in the color spectrum and in terms of what makes life worth meaning in relation to these emotions. Death is an inevitability and a counter to life, a balancing act.
Right.
So it does work from a cosmic standpoint, even if the emotional connection is relatively limited.
True. But and remember, kid, I don't know if you ever read Blackest Night, but where the members of the Justice League all got lantern rings.
I think I actually seen that comic book at my friend's house.
Hang on, I gotta pull up this image. It is one of the coolest things ever.
Don't you have the entire omnibus? You could just
No,
throw it in front of the camera.
I have the. I actually have the trade. Hang on. Blackest Night. This is one of those things that, this is the emergence of the Black Lanterns. But hang on, they have a badass cover that has all the people right here.
Nice.
Flash is a blue lantern. Wonder Woman is Star Sapphire. Mara's a red lantern. Lex Luthor is a orange lantern.
Captain America is a blue lantern.
A raging turd.
Yeah, Captain Atom is a indigo lantern,
Oh, that's Captain Atom.
and Scarecrow is a yellow lantern because of course.
Wait, didn't they say Scarecrow used the fear toxin so much he felt no emotion?
Yeah, they did. They did. My only complaint is that why didn't Superman get a blue lantern ring? He's the embodiment of hope.
Well, Superman fits multiple attributes. He fits hope. He fits willpower. He fits.
But
compassion.
that's what the
He
S
fit
means.
yeah.
The S means hope.
That's what So
Yeah, but you can.
and I can see Scarecrow. I can actually see Scarecrow being yellow. That fits him very well.
It's kind of funny is that there's this one part of the Jeff Johns run where a yellow lantern shows up to Batman and he goes, "You have the ability to instill great fear." Uh-oh, you've worn a Green Lantern ring. See ya. It just leaves.
Oh, gotta go.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the one that went to Scarecrow, and then the lantern stopped him from getting the ring that time, and then the ring just left.
And that kind of like I feel like the Justice League and the Green Lantern rings kind of like gave me the vibes as the Power Rangers and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes. Oh my god. It's Morphin time. Life, death, anger, hope. That would be so great if they said that. Oh,
like
God.
the Red Ranger's like the Red Lantern, and it's
He's like
Well,
vomiting
Jason
up her
did
skin.
always have an anger problem.
oh my
Hey, there
god!
you go.
But speaking of Power Rangers, have y'all seen the trailer of Once a Ranger?
Yeah, the 30th anniversary.
I am so looking forward to that.
I'm so hyped.
And
So
then,
hyped.
and then they're actually putting Legends of the White Dragon in movie theaters.
They are?
Yes, it's
Select
been confirmed.
theaters, I think.
No,
Select
it's been
theaters.
confirmed. It's all around.
I think a select one. Oh, it's all around. Well, in which case, I know what I'm saying.
And I gotta say, if it is select, hopefully it's near. See, my people are telling me that it should be worldwide because it's the last Jason David Frank's film
Performance.
So they're thinking that it should be worldwide.
And they're right. It should be worldwide.
I completely agree.
And I feel like they should have did Once a Ranger 2 in theaters as in tribute to the Yellow Ranger.
True.
Yeah, but Trini's voice actress died. I think she died in 90. No, she died in 2005.
But it would have been good bringing the old cast back and doing like a little, because see, in the movie, in the trailer, it did show, a little hint of, I guess they try to kill her off, and then her, I guess, her relative took over.
I think
Her
according to
daughter.
the trailer, they do kill Trini, and then her daughter takes up the mantle.
So yeah, I was just like, they should have put that in theaters as a tribute of her, and then released Legends of the White Dragon as a tribute
to Tommy, to Jason David Frank. I agree, but then why are you going to highlight someone who died back in 1995 over arguably the most iconic and best Ranger of all time?
Because you're bringing back the Mighty Morphin in the original cast. Why not?
Well, because here's the thing, though. You have to justify it. Will people show up for... here's the thing. Tommy is more of a draw than all of the original Rangers.
I agree.
That's just the way it is.
Except maybe Austin St. John, because he's the original Red.
Yeah, but those two, those are the... Because you have to understand, yes, it would be cool, but it has to make money in order for them to
Streaming is just a better option for once and always.
And now I kind of feel like that when this movie does come out, that why do I have a gut feeling that Jason David Frank's family is going to get a portion of what that movie makes?
To an extent, because you got to cover royalty costs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
So Tommy's royalties would have. So Jason's royalties would have go to the family.
Because one of my coworkers, he's a huge Power Rangers fan, and he was just like, I wonder if the Power Rangers, I guess, or Sabin is gonna get that, or get all of that, or is it partially gonna go towards Jason David Frank's family, as in like a fundraiser for?
No, they have to give some royalties to Jason David Frank's families. Now, will they make a donation to suicide prevention? Probably. But a good chunk of proceeds is going to go into Jason David Frank's royalties to his family.
Yeah, that's happening.
But
whether he's going to make a donation to suicide prevention, I don't know. They might just say they did for the sake of good PR, but whether or not they actually do it, I don't know.
But I really think Once a Ranger is going to be a good movie.
It looks great.
But I want to ask your opinion. Now, how did you like The Rock as Black Adam?
Oh, I loved him as Black Adam. In fact, hang on, I just picked this one.
Oh,
at my LCS right there.
Oh, that's dope.
Nice.
Now, I ain't gonna lie. I feel like he fit the role perfectly well. Like,
now behind the scenes,
my one problem is that he kept trying to hype up Black Adam as Superman, like he's this pillar of DC, and Black Adam's not. I got news for you.
I feel like I ain't
The Rock let his ego get the better of him. That was the film's biggest detriment.
Because here's the thing: he wanted to play Superman, knew he couldn't, but it's like, what's the next Superman-like character I can play?
It's either Shazam or Black Adam.
Yeah, and what's the next available Superman clone?
And that'd have been Black Adam.
Mm-hmm. But it's just, but I personally really enjoyed the movie. I thought Black Adam was super dope. I liked the JSA. I liked all the battle scenes. That was pretty cool.
And you see, in that movie, I kind of like figured out that he got his powers from the same wizards as Shazam. Because I was like, but when he says Shazam, he loses his powers. Like gone.
Well, he's still. Well, here's the thing. The reason why he can have his powers at the same time as Billy Batson is because he gets his powers from different gods, all coincidentally spelling out Shazam still. So it's still the same thing. It's just different gods give their powers to him.
And then you got Shazam himself.
Mhm.
Now, I want to know, who do you think would have won, but like Shazam or Black Adam? Now, hinted, if you've seen the trailer of Fury of the Gods, I feel like Shazam is a little more powerful than we got in the first film.
Oh yeah, as someone that saw that movie, yeah, he's a beast. But Tevia is really pissing me off right now. But in terms of the movie, yeah, I think. I mean, here's what you have to understand. Okay, so yeah, Shazam has power, but Black Adam has sheer brutality. Because Black Adam is not going to hold back. Shazam is going to hold back. And if you have two very powerful beings, one may be a little more power, but will hold back on that power. One's going to go all out. The one that's going to go all out is going to win.
Yeah, and Black Adam, he's not going to hold his punches back.
No, he did in the entire movie.
He didn't. Like, he said, there's no one in the world that can stop me. And I'm talking about, like, dominated everything.
And then she goes, oh, and then Amanda Waller is like, oh yeah, I got someone from another planet that can stop you. And Superman.
And that is, yes, and yes, and I feel like that they hinted at Henry Cavill versus The Rock. Now, I feel like Superman probably would have put the pause on Black Adam.
Superman wins. And in that situation, I'm sorry. It's going to be a fight because Black Adam uses magic. But I'm sorry, Superman wins. Like, 99.9% of the time, Superman's going to kick Black Adam.
But if I'm not correct.
Unless it's World War III where Black Adam just goes unhinged on everyone.
That is awesome. So in that storyline, Black Adam's family gets killed by the outside world, let's say. And Black Adam goes to war with the entire world and destroys the entire superhero community.
Well, I think he actively kills Tara because remember, Tara does get brought back in post-crisis.
Okay.
And he's technically, she does get killed by Black. I think he either crushes her or he electrocutes her. I have to go back to the comic, but I'm pretty sure. No, he pulls a Vegeta versus Zarbon and punches her through the stomach.
Yeah, it was like,
and in Justice Superman versus Joker.
Oh, that's like a no-win. One punch done.
Superman against humans is One Punch Man. That's just the way it works.
Oh, so I think, who do you think will win? One Punch Man versus Superman?
Saitama.
I don't know. I feel like it's a draw. I feel a draw.
No, it's Superman because here's the thing. One Punch Man has one gimmick. Superman has like frost breath, heat vision, super speed.
But Saitama is just, I feel
he's
like
a gag character.
He's a gag character. He's written to beat anybody.
Oh yeah, we'll see. The one DC character I know he can't beat is Batman. I'm sorry, because Batman has a contingency plan for anything. The minute yes, exactly, Bat God. To give you an idea of a contingency plan, Batman has one for himself. It's called Failsafe, a robot that has the mind of Batman.
Mm-hmm.
In case he ever goes evil. Okay, I'm going to have a machine that I'm going to have a device that'll take
which
me
he
out.
Didn't remember to turn off because he was too busy feeling sorry for himself when Alfred died.
Yeah,
but that's just Batman feeling sorry for himself, and that's just the Tom King.
But that's just the role of Batman, though. He always has a plan B for everything. I'm talking
his
about
plan B has plans A, B, and C.
And his plans A, B, and C has D, E, E, F.
Yes, exactly. Nothing can beat Batman, ultimately. I got news for you. You can name a character. I had a debate. Goku versus Batman. Batman.
And you got, let's just say, we put one of the
but
smartest.
Saiyans have no real direct weaknesses.
I got one. Eren Yeager versus Batman. It's Batman.
It's Batman all day.
Here's the thing.
Come on.
Batman's gonna figure out what makes you tick and how your powers work, and he'll instantly be like, "Okay, I fought someone like this in the past. Here's how he beat them."
Simple. Now here's the thing: crap out of him before he can bite his thumb and
how Batman's gonna beat Saitama is he's gonna realize that he's at first he's gonna think Saitama is alien, but he's gonna be like, oh, he's just a human. He just has superhuman strength. Oh, poison dart, dead.
Or how about Batman? He uses any of his guns that are mounted to his vehicles and just shoots the guy.
Oh, Saitama will probably take it and then come right back down like, hey.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Tevia, this is for you. Wonderbat.
Okay, but anyway,
Wonderbat.
going back to Black Adam vs Superman, the problem with that post-credit scene is that it was ruined by James Gunn shortly afterwards, saying that Henry Cavill's not coming back as Superman.
Yes, I was
after Warner Brothers had told him to announce he's coming back. Now,
because James Gunn is an idiot. Well,
here's the thing. Idiot. Here's the thing, though. That could get them in legal trouble for false advertisement.
It'd be a technicality, but yes.
Because they had him, because Warner Brothers themselves had him come out and announce he's coming back as Superman, and now all of a sudden it's not. So, I mean, it's loose, but it could happen.
All they'll do is just take the settlement to get Henry Cavill not to sue them. They'll just take the settlement.
I guarantee you, I'm going to make a prediction. Cavill's going to be back in the Superman suit sooner than later.
It's either going to be Elseworld involving a potential Snyderverse return, or at least a Justice League movie to wrap things up.
No, what I mean is that I think that James Gunn is going to, depending on the performance of Superman Legacy, he's going to say, oh, actually what I was doing is I was trying to establish a more universally applicable, let's say, origin story for Henry Cavill Superman. That was always the plan, to bring him back, really.
So go ahead. Depending on how Superman Legacy performs, you're gonna recast for Henry Cavill in the sequel. That's what you're going with.
Well, I'm just saying. No, what's gonna happen, dude, is what I think is right now. He thinks he's not going to use Henry Cavill as Superman. Period. But what I think is that if Superman Legacy bombs, which let's be honest, it's more likely leaning toward the when because of all the negative press it has because of the Cavill stuff. If that happens, I think he'll try and spin it and say, well, actually, no, I always planned to bring Henry Cavill back. I'm like, sure you did.
You can't have nobody else play Superman.
No.
I mean, what are you going to do? Bring the dude that plays Superman Returns?
Well, he did. No, he was just given a bad script. That was
the thing about it is that I've said this many times. Henry Cavill is our generation's Christopher Reeves.
That's a fair
consensus. The dude who embodies Superman.
That's a fair consensus, not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
But I really feel like when I saw this scene right here, I was kind of, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of got like a MCU kind of like vibe, like, oh my God, we're about to get a Black Adam versus Superman movie.
Yeah, and they could have capitalized on that, but no.
That'll be our next topic in just a few minutes. Kid, if you could roll a clip.
I will.
There's no one on this planet that can stop me.
I can call in a favor and send people who aren't from this planet.
Send them all.
As you wish.
It's been a while since anyone's made the world this nervous.
Yeah.
Black Adam. We should talk.
Yep, there you go.
Oh, I wanted it so bad.
No matter what you felt about Black Adam, people were hyped that Henry Cavill was coming back as Superman. And James Gunn just comes out of nowhere and says, nope, we're not hyping that up. Because what he should have said, all casting decisions will be made after The Flash. That's it.
That's literally
all he had to say. And then even if he planned to replace Henry Cavill, he could have just done that. Just told everyone, don't say anything. We're not making any casting assessments, and
don't do anything to piss anyone off.
To dispel the leakers, go anything that does from this point on, anything that does not come from me or Peter is BS.
Yes.
It doesn't matter who it comes. It doesn't matter if it's Grace Randolph or anyone that's been reliable in the past. It doesn't matter. Anything that doesn't come from me or Peter is not true.
Like, don't believe it.
And then there you go. You could just leave it alone. And then you could see, okay, so people really want Henry Cavill back as Superman. I should change my plans.
But
James,
no, I'm
plausible
just gonna, like,
deniability, basically. But James Gunn's ego got the better of him, and he ran his mouth off.
I think he's going to. I think that if the Flash makes $1 billion, I've made this prediction before. A lot of these decisions are going to get reversed. A lot.
Now he almost blabbed about Gal Gadot not returning as Wonder Woman. Could you imagine if that was actually?
Oh
yes.
gosh!
After
after
all the backlash after 1984, he was like, I don't know if she's gonna return back as Wonder Woman.
Well,
And I'm just like, why?
If you replace Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, the first mainstream live action Wonder Woman, it's different than Henry Cavill or it's different than Superman and Batman.
That's just like replacing the actor who plays Aquaman.
Because with Henry Cavill Superman, you're always gonna have that clash between like Christopher Reeve Superman, DCAU Superman, which actually was post-crisis Superman,
and very
Henry
dark,
Cavill.
mind you. So,
mind you, Henry Cavill Superman was more of a combination of post-crisis and New 52.
Mm-hmm.
He was a
That's why I
combination
loved
of
it.
the two.
It's my favorite eras.
And yet you still got stuck with Lois Lane.
I know. By the way, kid, in case you don't know, I cannot stand Lois Lane.
Oh, I know a lot of people who don't.
Yeah.
They're just like, ugh.
I'm like, go away, because at this point the stories have been told ad nauseum for many years, and to the point where it's like all she really is. You could say they try and give her more agency, but ultimately all she is someone for Superman to save. And guess what? There's no stakes then, because he's always going to save her. I'm like, I was reading a Superman comic. I kid you not. This happened, pun intended. I kid you not. This happened like a couple of months ago. I was reading a Superman comic. Lois Lane is in danger, and I go out loud, so he's gonna save her.
All she has to do is just be like, help. Oh, boom, there.
Kid,
yeah.
Have you actually read Action Comics 1051?
No, I haven't.
Okay, in that story, the super family's all together, having a gathering. Then all of a sudden, while John Kent is looking for a board game, he finds Clark's Warworld Saga armor, the Gladiator suit,
which is a He-Man-like suit. And it turns out that they're also showing that Superman is kinky with Lois, and that's their other way to revitalize the relationship, to quote the author. And I put down in the comments, if you have to resort to kinkiness to revitalize this relationship, it's probably a crappy relationship.
Yeah, like you and Lewis is just toxic.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just say Lewis?
Did you say Lewis? Oh, that's the second person. Lad said Lewis Lane, and now you've got this. First off, wait, me and Lewis? What are you talking about?
I done goofed. Oh, that's a hoot.
That is awesome.
I wish I clipped that.
Well, I'm pretty sure it is clipped. We're on live right now, so
it's gonna be clipped. Oh, jeez, that's awesome. Even I was like, is someone gonna say it? Because if not, I'll say it. And then Jay was like, did you say Lewis?
Trust me, someone at work did the exact same thing. So it's just.
It's a common thing. It's more common.
It really is.
It's more common. Yeah, exactly. We had to rewind a scene of the Snyder cut when Batman says Lois Lane, because Lad goes, "Look, he said Lewis Lane," and I said, "No, he didn't."
But
I was right, by the way.
But in all seriousness,
but yeah, I was just like, they gave us this post credit, but then
took it away.
Henry missed, I guess, the call, or I guess the slot for Superman, and now
what happened was, they had a verbal contract with him saying, yes, we're going to bring you back to Superman. Announce on social media that you're back as Superman. He does so.
But it was nothing on paper. It was never on paper.
It was not on paper, but they told him to announce he was back. That's the really effed up part. So not even a week later, the article comes out where James Gunn is like, oh yeah, Henry Cavill's not going to play Superman.
And like Jared was saying, technically speaking, Henry Cavill can sue WBD for false advertising.
We can.
Oh, the fans.
Anybody? Okay. Yeah, we can all sue him, honestly.
But again, it'd be a technicality, but there is a case there.
But
and with a possible congressional investigation coming out of WB, they do not want this attention. I say possible. It's not guaranteed to happen.
Now, to be fair, Emmerich would take most of the heat for that because he's the one who finessed Discovery to secure the merger.
Yeah.
No. Because the investigation is not about the merger itself. It's about essentially like Zaslav managing WB, like violating workers' rights, apparently.
So it would have went to
limiting consumer choice by canceling Batgirl. So he's gonna get, if that happens, he's gonna get slapped with a fine.
Yeah,
more than likely.
Big one. I mean, a big one.
A big one.
But Batgirl was just a crappy movie. I mean, why bury someone with a fine for that?
You want to know what
that was the example they used. That was the example they used. But they said there were other options. There were other things that significantly reduced consumer choice. And all the Restore the Snyderverse people are like, "Hey,
you want to know? There was one thing WB could have did better. Now they should have made the TV show Birds of Prey better than what it was.
Oh yeah, there was potential there, dude. There was potential.
But that show wrapped up years ago.
Well, the movie should have never been made. I'll give you that.
Oh, definitely.
I'm talking about I'm talking about like the old TV show where it had the dude that played in what was it? Not NCI. Was it NCIS?
Wait, wasn't he technically their version of Jason Todd?
Yeah, y'all should know who I'm talking about. I don't know if it's NCIS or was it.
I only watched one episode of it, but what I watched, I actually enjoyed.
But I feel like it has so much potential than what they actually produce, and I'm just like, why?
Okay,
well, Birds of Prey, you gotta understand. Warner Brothers and DC in general likes to self-sabotage themselves. They have something that's good, and then they just take the rug out from under them. Snyderverse, New 52, Birds of Prey. It happens all the time.
Wonder Woman.
When they remade and came out with the Joker movie.
Mm-hmm.
No, the
new Joker. I had a good story, but I didn't like the character design.
Definitely. Now, Joker's a separate situation. They tried to bury that movie because they thought it was too. Okay, first of all, it was just ego abound. Two, it was a blatant fuck you to the old regime, and everyone just had a good laugh all around. You're not going to have the same momentum at Joker 2 as you did with the first one. One, because Hamada and Sarnoff are officially blacklisted. They are never going to get work in Hollywood again. And it's not the same context. So I feel like Joker 2
is a musical.
And then here's number 3 is because I feel like the best Joker was the Joker that played in The Dark Knight.
Yes.
Yes.
Heath Ledger.
He's
a
legend. Yes. Now, I hate the one that played in Suicide Squad. That was a joke.
Well, that was remember though, that's not the actual way he was supposed to be portrayed. That was the studio version, because apparently there's a Ayer cut of Suicide Squad that apparently does the Joker right. So until we get that, we're stuck with that Joker.
And I feel I just, that's the only thing that killed me on that movie. I was like, why?
And as for Birds of Prey, the movie, that was a blatant Deadpool 2 ripoff
of Harley Quinn.
And by the way, if you watch the Snyder cut, he gets a little bit of a redemption that Joker at the end of the movie.
And what they did to Cassandra Cain is a cardinal sin that no one can forgive.
No, it's a mortal sin, dude. It's a mortal sin.
So the question is, do you think Black Adam and Superman will happen as previewed in the credit?
Well, maybe not that way, but I mean, it's still up in the air who will play Superman. But I think they will fight.
They're gonna have to get Henry Cavill back. Who else is gonna fit the role that the fans are actually gonna want?
They want a younger. Here's the stupid part: James Gunn wants a younger kid to play Superman.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay, so but let me get this straight. You want in 2013 when Man of Steel, your first plan. Henry Cavill was in his late 20s, almost 30. He's 39 now. He could still pull it off.
The dude is jacked. He takes clear good care of himself. And here's the key part. He's very passionate about this role.
Yes, he plays it so well, though.
He do it for next to nothing.
He'd do it just for the chance to put on the suit. You really think it's that hard to get Henry Cavill in a Superman suit?
But back with the old regime, Henry Cavill refused to play ball and do that last cameo in Shazam to wrap up his contract.
Why. They only wanted him to be relegated to cameos. Now imagine that Superman just doing cameos in the DC movie universe. Superman.
I get it. It was a poor way to do things, but again, egos abound.
They thought they were trying to go with the Iron Man a way of doing things, but they didn't realize is that Superman's on a completely different level than Iron Man.
Right. Like he's on
terms of
God level compared
iconography.
to Iron Man, yes.
No, I mean in terms of popularity too.
And because prior to the MCU, Iron Man was low C, high D tier at best.
Mm-hmm.
He was not a popular character.
And to my defense, I would say out of everybody, Iron Man only got his popularity because at the end of Endgame when he
No, it was because of the movie that came out in 2008. That's when Iron Man really started to like pick up as a pillar of Marvel. But it's just the thing is, here's the difference between Iron Man and Superman. Superman is DC. He essentially was the first DC superhero.
Arguably the first hero.
I thought it was Batman.
No, it was Superman and then Batman.
They're like a year apart.
A year apart. It's just Superman's 38, Batman's 39. But the point is, Superman started the entire genre, and he is. Let me put it this way: Zack Snyder said it best. The thing about DC, if you're gonna build a DC cinematic universe, you have to get Superman right first, because everything else comes off of Superman. Because here's the thing: there's a reason why he's always been the leader of the Justice League, because all the other superheroes take their cues from him. He is the example.
He's the god, basically.
Yeah, kind of. But that's why, and no one takes their cues from Iron Man. No one.
They take theirs from Captain America.
Yeah, exactly. They should have given him the Captain America treatment, but that's besides the point. But the thing is that
But the thing is, Captain America is not even the strongest. The strongest person in the MCU is Thor.
Yes.
Arguably Hulk, but again, that's what Universal.
But here's the thing, though. They were trying to go with the MCU formula, but what they don't realize is that here's why you could have like long periods without an Iron Man, Captain America, or Thor movie. Because you had established the consumer trust saying, okay, if it has the Marvel logo on it, it's going to be good. What they should have done after the Justice League debacle, immediately a Man of Steel 2. Just to wipe everyone's like memory of the stupid CGI lip and and everything Joss Whedon never did. If you really want to move on from Zack Snyder, move on from Zack Snyder. Even though if they had released a Snyder cut, they could have gone in another direction anyway. But the point is, you have to establish 3 characters before you can start doing D tier characters: Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. You have to do the Trinity first before you can because let me put it this way. Batgirl should never have been greenlit before a Batman movie.
Agreed.
Never, because she is a derivative character. She's a great character. But she's a derivative character of Batman.
From an objective standpoint, yes.
Yeah. That's what they were trying to do. They were trying to skip to using D tiers, and that's the thing. That's why starting with Creature Commandos is a terrible idea for your cinematic universe, and everyone goes, well, it's James Gunn. Yeah, but James Gunn had the padding of the MCU of like previously established MCU successes because let me put it this way: if Guardians had come out as like one of the first MCU projects, I don't think it would have been. No, it would have, because you're talking about a talking tree and a raccoon.
No, I was thinking more of the Eternals being one of the first.
Oh, that would not have done. No, because here's what you have to understand, kid. The Eternals are not popular even in the comics. It's not like we're dealing with like
but I was just thinking more of like the time that movie took place in. It looked like before even Captain America, Iron Man. Like
when they first arrived, yes.
There was a throwaway line at the end where they talk about how Iron Man and Captain America are dead. So that already establishes in like the modern parts.
They've been there for a good while.
Yeah,
but they weren't allowed to interact with humans in any way.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's just, I'm just like, okay, guys. Warner Brothers' sin is that they were trying to fast track an MCU without taking the time to because if they had like when you look at the original Snyderverse, had they just stuck to that rule, they would have actually been done with their cinematic universe around the time Marvel finished.
Exactly. I feel like the way
Your
Warner
only
Brothers
real
and the DC.
nitpick. I'm sorry, kid. I hate to cut you off. Your only real nitpick would have been that Batman specifically would have been too akin to Dark Knight Rises.
Well, no, remember
Returns.
that was just for BVS because after that he got more of the classic Batman era.
Yeah, and see, because you can actually tell the difference between Christian Bale and Ben Affleck. I feel like
murderous
Ben,
Batman.
he's more of a, I guess, a classic Batman. Like Ben Affleck plays it better, but Christian Bale's, it was more of like bedtime story.
It's more grounded, basically.
Here's what you have to understand about Ben Affleck's Batman. First off, he was the first one that was good as Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Yes, he found a good balance.
Ultimately, Bale was horrible as Batman. Good as Bruce Wayne. Good as Bruce Wayne.
Christian Bale, I loved his Bruce
Wayne.
Great
as Bruce Wayne.
And here's what you have to understand about Affleck's portrayal of Batman. He was playing a broken Batman. Robin had just died. The person that he considers his son, his moral compass, just got killed. And that's what everyone ignores by Batman's murdering people. Look at the context around it. Do you really think that, and it also happened in the comics, when Jason Todd was killed, the reason why Tim Drake became Robin is because Batman got too brutal and he realized he needs a Robin. He needs a Robin. That's exactly what happens here.
And Nightwing refused to do it because he wanted to get away from Bruce.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what these real DC fans seem to be ignoring whenever they critique the Snyderverse movies.
So I just really think that the DC should have really did it like Marvel. They should have did like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash, or whatever order, and then Justice League, and then Man of Steel 2, and then give them their sequels, and then maybe a Justice League 2.
Well, kid, before Warner Brothers got all interfering, do you know what the original plan for the DCEU was? Man of Steel 2, Man of Steel 3, a Batman movie. It wasn't going to be Batman versus Superman.
It would have been more of like the Robert Pattinson Batman kind
No, it would still have been Ben Affleck's Batman, but it was not going to be like Batman and Superman fighting. In other words, Snyder always planned to have that slow build up where you have like a character here, a character here. Like, let me put it this way. I think that what he probably would have done, Man of Steel 1 and 2, Batman, Wonder Woman, Justice League, because you don't need that much to establish Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman. It's really the main three that you have to get right. And that's what the MCU did. They had Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, and then Avengers. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. They had Hulk, but
the Incredible Hulk was
badass movie. Oh my
God. Original Incredible Hulk. Yes, I loved. I hate the one. I hate the one we got now.
Hulk 03 or Hulk MCU?
No, MCU. I'm talking about post in-game Hulk. I'm talking about one that got his powers under control. He's he's too friendly. I want rageful.
The biggest missed opportunity that they had in Endgame was a scene where Savage Hulk comes back and like throws Thanos around for a couple of seconds as payback for what happened in Infinity War.
Now, again, Disney and Universal, I don't know how far this really goes, but Disney and Universal always had beef. And the main reason they didn't always utilize Hulk, one, Hulk 08 technically bombed compared to the other films. And two, Hulk, you had to pay a separate licensing fee to use Hulk because his licensor was still with Universal. They did get the acquisition as of She-Hulk because that's when the acquisition passed. But when that happened, this was still during the whole post-2016 social media awakening type thing where everyone, and with a certain president. So really, okay, She-Hulk was a product of its time. Then it got delayed for 2 years, reshoots, and then when it finally did come out, it was so god awful, no one wanted to watch it.
I ain't gonna lie, I was not a fan of She-Hulk.
Okay, and kid, let me ask you this: do you know what's so you know how at the end of the show they introduced Scar?
Yes.
Do you know who Scar actually looks like in the comics?
I I would hope similar.
All right. No,
Screen
no,
share it.
no. Wait,
Screen
yeah,
share it.
I'm sharing this. This is the biggest sin of the show. Hang on. I will screen share this right now. Scar, son of Hulk.
Hulk.
This is the bit. This
The
infuriated
mortal
me.
sin.
This
infuriated me. Hang on, I got to find a really good image
because I didn't really read more of the Hulk comics. I mean, I guess I wasn't really.
Please tell me you've read Planet Hulk.
You have to.
Who hasn't read Planet Hulk?
Dude.
But it was just more of like the actual Hulk comic. I wasn't really a Hulk fan, but I enjoyed the Incredible Hulk. The Incredible
Read Immortal
Hulk.
Hulk. And by the way, here's what Scar looks like. You ready? 3,
Yes.
2, 1. Share my screen.
All right, let's see.
This is what Scar looks like. Not the dude in the man bun.
Oh, they messed up real.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Because Scar's introduction is, you know how at the end of the Planet Hulk story where the ship blows up?
Yeah.
He survived. He shows up on Earth and beats the crap out of Hulk.
Technically, Bruce was holding back because one, he recognized the I believe
this.
Okay, he recognized the I believe it's called the Orm Force or something like that. He recognized that in Scar for the loss of his wife. He didn't want to fight him. By all accounts, Hulk did not want to fight Scar.
But still,
there was
that's
no
his
reason.
introduction.
Scar just pissed him off. Scar eventually pissed him off, and he just stomped his head in the ground.
Yeah, but that's the introduction. That's what Scar is supposed to look like, not this stupid hipster man bun BS standing
That looks like he's
next to
Samoan.
Hulk in a hoodie. I'm like, no, this is dumb.
He looks like a Hulk as a Samoan.
Do you know what I think it is? I don't think Mark Ruffalo wants to play the Rage Monster anymore. He doesn't want to be like a CGI character. I mean, he doesn't want to be like upstaged by a CGI character because ultimately, no one. When it comes to movies, when you bring in the Hulk, do we really care about Bruce Banner?
They want the Hulk. Case in point.
We want a
the
Hulk
monster.
smash.
And they're trying to get both sides of it, but you can't because honestly, whenever I see the Hulk, I want him to punch something.
And the MCU is just really making the Hulk kind of more comedic.
Hopeless.
Like the part in Infinity War where he was fighting Thanos' monster. He said, buddy, if you're gonna come out, now it's the time. No, screw you then. I'll do it myself.
In Endgame, where he's bringing tacos to Ant-Man, I'm like, oh my god, this is so stupid.
Again, there's Disney and Universal will have beef until the end of time, but I honestly don't know how the Hulk licensure. I guess because Universal hasn't made a Hulk project in a long time, they let the licensure lapse, and Disney was able to seize it that way.
No, I ain't gonna lie. Disney and the MCU has had two recent good projects: Wakanda Forever.
Yep.
And I would have to say, it was Wakanda Forever and No Way Home.
Yep, 100% agree with you.
Those
are the two best.
One is the tail end of Phase 4. Well, both were Phase 4 films, and
I just love how they did that tribute to
Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
And the 3 Spider-Men in No Way Home, you cannot beat that.
And that was me and Jarrett was talking about that earlier. When they agreed to come back in No Way Home, I would say about a month after that movie, it was confirmed that was their introductory for Andrew getting the Amazing Spider-Man 3. Toby was considering with Sam Raimi about getting his last Spider-Man 4. And then shortly after that, Tom signed a deal with Sony for his last 3 movies.
Yes, thank you.
So Tom is going to get 3 movies before
Andrew's
going to
get 1, and
Toby's
going to get 1.
Well, Toby's hasn't been confirmed, but it has been leaked. As far as it's hinting at it.
It's a rumor, in other words.
Sony is really hinting at it because even Toby himself said that like I said, Jared, that Toby enjoyed being back in that Spider-Man suit. It said it brought him back to the old days.
Mm-hmm.
And Andrew, he even commented in one of his interviews that he feel like out of Toby and Tom, he was kind of, I guess, left out because they all got a trilogy and he didn't.
Yeah, and arguably, No Way Home also served to redeem his Spider-Man too.
And it was just more of like everybody going on the whole rant about hashtag The Amazing Spider-Man 3 on Twitter, and then Sony's like, "Oh, okay, we'll give it to him."
Yeah, exactly. So there's no reason why not to. So ultimately, I mean, the MCU is going to have to really bomb in order for them to actually make any meaningful changes that will actually lead to some success. I mean, Victoria Alonso leaving is one thing, but if the leadership is still in there, if the main leadership if the main leadership is in there that makes a lot of these BS executive decisions. By the way, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing Ironheart canceled, Echo cancel. A lot of these projects are going to start getting canceled real quick.
I don't really see them canceling Ironheart for the simple fact of how Endgame actually ended, because it was more of like when Tony snapped his finger. Basically, in the comic book, when he did, he turned himself into an AI. And here's the thing.
He made a copy of himself, basically.
Basically, basically he put his intelligence into an AI, kind of like Jarvis. And then remember at the end of Endgame, when he walked up to his daughter and said, "I love you 3000," like he knew exactly where she was. He is going to guide her into Ironheart. So
no. What you have to understand is that the daughter is not going to be Ironheart. The daughter is not Ironheart. Ironheart is the other girl from Wakanda Forever in the really stupid looking Iron Man knockoff suit.
Now, kid, do you know what the inspiration for Ironheart during all different games?
I don't.
Do you know where they
Don't
got?
tell.
Okay, so what happened was, this is an occasion of a writer picking a name and not checking
researching
what that name is also used for. So Jay Heat, you want to inform?
Okay, for our younger audience out there, please leave the room. Okay, Brian Michael Bendis, technically by proxy, named his original character after a porn parody
of Iron Man.
I did not want to remember that. Look how they ended Endgame. I was like, I ain't gonna lie, I was like, I'm getting Ironheart vibes, but then I was like,
here's what you have to understand.
I'm not gonna think.
In the comic, she does not become Ironheart. She, if anything, she becomes a rescue. Ironheart is a specific Marvel character.
Yeah, well, his daughter has kind of like access to his suits, his technology. Yeah. So that everybody was hinting that the way that they portrayed it at the end of Endgame,
that would be a more logical choice than using
that
Riri.
that would be how
that
Ironheart
would be better than using Riri, than using the porn parody.
Like I feel like that'll be their Marvel's or the MCU's introduced to Ironheart, because I can't see them like the way how it's leading up to Secret Wars. I don't really see them like doing that part like the comics, kind of sort of.
Well, they can't do Secret Wars like they did in the comics, because half the characters that were key in Secret Wars are dead or don't exist.
Yeah, basically. And we already know Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield. We got Blade is coming in Secret War. And they're hinting at Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider making an appearance.
Heck
yeah. I don't think that's been confirmed.
It's not. Look, these just was rumors. Yes. Kind of. Who else? The original Fantastic Four, like because you see, Wanda already destroyed in one universe Mr. Fantastic, but apparently that happened to be the original Mr. Fantastic. So we don't know if he's going to come back, but
we'll see what happens with that.
But they're just constantly at least coming up with rumors. Now, Nicolas Cage, I want to see that.
That would be actually really fun.
Nicolas Cage will play anything.
He'll come back.
Wasn't he supposed to be Superman in Justice League Mortal?
No, he was no. You know who's supposed to be Superman? The kid that plays the Green Shazam family. The adult version of the Green Shazam family member, the one that's in the green suit. That's who was going to play Shazam in the movie.
Huh.
I mean, that's who was going to play Superman in Justice League Mortal. He was supposed to be Superman in the movie Superman Lives. Nicolas Cage is what I'm talking about.
But he played a mean Ghost Rider, though.
Yes, he did. He basically played Ghost Rider.
The sequel wasn't as good, but
by the way, how would you guys feel about a Spawn Ghost Rider crossover movie?
Awesome. Though Spawn would hog most of the spotlight.
I want to see a Spawn and Blade crossover.
Heck yeah.
I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Spawn is a literal angel of death. Blade is a vampire hunter.
Oh, Spawn would completely destroy Blade because Blade ultimately does not have the power level of Spawn.
Or what about Spawn and Black Bolt?
You do realize he could literally incapacitate Black Bolt.
Hey, Spawn. You want to hear a secret?
Disintegrate.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they should.
I don't want to hear you whisper. I want to hear you scream.
We're Hulk.
But
I'm telling you, World War Hulk.
That's what we need as a movie.
But yes,
MCU would screw that up. I do not trust Kevin Feige after She-Hulk.
But we're gonna go to the last topic now. If they was to air Black Adam versus Superman, would you think it'll turn out like the cartoon? Now, I remember watching that cartoon, and the Superman literally held his own. Like he did not.
Exactly. Like I'm saying, Superman would win against Black Adam.
Not without difficulty, though, because
not without difficulty, but Superman would ultimately win.
And I think I have a clip of that. Let's see, Return of Black Adam.
Was about
Return. It was actually 2-something minutes, but this was a good movie. Honestly,
I loved it. It was great.
Superman.
Stay here, son.
You fight for the wizard?
I fight for those who can't fight for themselves.
Superman just doesn't care.
Yeah, he's not impressed. To use a term from the Snyder Cut.
He felt that
magic.
Why is he after me?
I was going to ask you the same question.
Indeed, you are my physical match. But I sense one critical difference, a vulnerability to magic.
Another difference. Heat vision.
that heat vision always gets me.
You did it!
Go.
But you beat him. It's over.
Go!
Yeah. Imagine that in live action.
That would have been Henry Cavill versus The Rock.
And I gotta say, as powerful as The Rock was in Black Adam, it's Henry Cavill Superman would destroy.
Yes, Henry would like probably side everything, like literally.
That last
He
scene,
completely dominated Steppenwolf. I don't think Black Adam's at that same level.
dude, and he held his own against General Zod, so I think he would do fine.
Yeah, I really think that I feel like I'll get vibes more of like how Henry Cavill was in Justice League when he kept throwing punches and he just
Yeah, he was like, yeah, exactly. When the axe hits him on the shoulder and Superman just goes, I'm not impressed.
yeah, and he's just gonna start throwing Black Adam. But I don't really think that like if Black Adam could like keep hitting him with his magic, that's the only thing that'll keep him off of him. Other than that, Superman will hit close combat. It's a wrap. But anybody got any closing remarks? I know my boy got work in the morning.
Not that much. Just like I'm cautiously optimistic for what we have coming out, whether or not it's with the Spider-Man 2 game, the potential of having Cavill back. I think that will happen down the line. There's no reason not to, and the people would want it. Plus, you could also hashtag license the Snyderverse to Netflix. You're welcome, Snyder Queen. But honestly, it was great. Thank you for having me on, kid.
All right, no problem. Y'all, please like, subscribe. You know who I am. I'm your boy, Kid.
I only got one thing left to say.
Here we go.
I know what you're gonna say, Jay Heat.
My name is Jay Heat. I bring the heat. Flame on. Wonder Bat, 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 Wonder Man, Wonder Woman, Batman.
All right, y'all. I'm Kid. Take off. Yeah.